Daniel Blake's a 59-year-old carpenter from Newcastle on Tyne. He's had a heart attack, and yet he's declared that he has to look for a job in order to get any financial support. And the film's a story of what happened to him.
Dan is just a guy who's basically, he's worked all his life. I felt that he was a bit like my father, because my dad was a joiner, and he's worked all his life. He's had a heart attack. He believes paying his, taxes. He believes doing the right thing. He helps his neighbours. He gets into trouble. He goes to claim welfare, social security, sickness benefit. Finds out that he has to go through this assessment, which is a 52-page form he has to fill in. He goes for an assessment. He fails that assessment, and he thinks, well, surely, this is just a mistake and things are going to happen. So he uses humour to try and sort of get through this. He befriends Katie. He's a kind guy, just an ordinary guy, and the state, all the time he just comes up against these brick walls.
Ken Loach and Paul Laverty, those two names were enough for me. I've watched their films from, a teenager and growing up. I knew I wanted to act, and they were two people that I really wanted to work with. You know two things. One, that you're going to make a fantastic piece of art, and also you're going to make something that's vital and important, and to have those two things is just fantastic.
Well, Paul Laverty and I just kept hearing the same kind of stories, and they were extraordinary, and they got more bizarre, like a man who takes his pregnant wife to hospital and gets sanctioned because he's done that. Story after story, and we thought, well, we should look into this, so we did. Paul wrote the characters. It just seems extraordinary things going on all around us, and we don't talk about them.
I always tell people what we're doing, so they're very clear about I was researching this story, but I find if you listen with respect, people will tell you very, very touching stories, and it was just mind-boggling to see how many people were choosing between heating their house and feeding their children. I mean, that's in today's Britain. We've done films now, 15, 20 years ago, there was no food banks then, but now there are food banks and people are living off, donated food to make ends meet. And it wasn't just people who'd been sanctioned, at the dole office, but the working poor too, people in 0-hour contracts. So it raises really, really big questions about how we organise ourselves.
I can't believe how affecting this film's having with people. They're really touched by it, and it's an honesty. It's not just they're actually going, and it's making them angry as well. People are going, this is wrong.
I think audiences are going to be shocked, but at the same time, I think we've been fed a lot of rubbish over a number of years, and people are not perhaps as shocked as they should be at some of what's going on. But I do think from people I talk to, when I've seen a preview, I went and sneaked in at the back in Sheffield when there was one of these previews, and people came out and they were just talking politics, not just about the benefit system, about the whole thing, about austerity, about how poor people are suffering, about how angry they are about a lot of things about this government and previous governments. So I think it will really get people talking.
We just want them to get to know Daniel and Katie, follow their story, and then maybe when they leave the cinema, say, well, why are we doing this? Why are we doing this to each other? Why are we living in a world like this? And just ask big questions about how we live together, But mainly just enjoy meeting them, because they're good fun, they're good feisty characters.